How's it going, guys? It's your boy Kanji FPL and welcome back to the channel. On today's video, we're going to be going through my Game Week 5 team review as well as looking ahead to Game Week 6. However, let's play a little game of guess which FPL YouTuber is currently ranked at 4.5 million. We have Sertab from FPL Optimized, who is one of the best FPL managers of all time, and he's ranked at 5 million. Then we have Big Man Bakar, who's ranked at 3.5 million, but neither of those are ranked at 4.5 million. You know who it is? It's actually me. I had the biggest red arrow last week from 3.4 mil to 4.5 mil, so I've already been off to a terrible start and it's getting worse somehow, and I'm not even sure why. So we'll jump into my team, and I can't lie, I've been very tempted to pull the trigger on a wild card, just given how poor my start to the season has been. So let's just do some analysis and decide what is the right move for my team going forward. Ugh, shield your eyes, boys. It's horrible. I actually just posted the meme of like that Harry Potter scene where it's like Voldemort and it's like, what happened to him? Harry asks. And honestly, it's just, I've been destroyed by Haaland for the first 5 weeks of the season where he's picked up 10 goals in 5 games, really surpassed my expectations. Pretty much you could have been on permacap Haaland. He's also got a goal against Arsenal. Like, what the heck? This guy's ridiculous, but I really feel like I'm going to continue to bet against him. I know the fixtures coming up for him are just so simple, but when I look at my team, I genuinely feel like there is a realistic possibility and a realistic plan that his hot form does not continue. And also, I do feel that if you own some of the other players that others don't own, I could completely climb the ranks. So let's say, for example, Haaland goes out there in the next 5 weeks, gets 1 goal in every single game, gets an early sub because they're playing against easier matches, then it's like I would have been better off in my own structure. So I just feel like I'm not really interested in wildcarding, specifically because I already have my triple Arsenal, which is what people are wildcarding into. I think Isak's one of the best strikers in the league. I mean, Calvert-Lewin, a lot of people are wildcarding into Calvert-Lewin, and João Pedro would just become my first bench option. And Semenyo and Salah, they have really good fixtures this week, playing against Wolves for Salah, and then Semenyo's playing against Southampton at home. And Bruno and Eze are the ones that are just stinking up the gaff and haven't returned for weeks with underlying data of 3.0 XGI each, and both only getting 1 return each, which is just bad luck to me. So I'm just thinking of, hey, I own really good players. They're getting into good positions. The returns will come. I just have to stay patient. So the issue that's really bothered me this week is that I got nothing from Leif Davis and Lewis Dunk. Now, Dunk did return for me last week, so I can't be too annoyed at him, but Leif Davis is the one that really frustrates me, where it's like, I knew that he wouldn't get any returns against Liverpool and Man City in the first 2 weeks, but then I benched him against Fulham and I benched him against Brighton, where he returned in both matches. And then he has his easiest fixture on paper, and I plan to play him from preseason in order to bench a Gabriel because I wanted to have him in my team for specifically this week, and he blanked. And he basically did nothing in the game as well, which is just so frustrating. Like, bro, of course he returns twice on my bench and then blanks against the easiest team. That's just the way that my season has gone. Then I look at Trent. Guess which week I captained Trent? Unbelievable. Like, it's genuinely unbelievable. This is what my season has been like. Like, the thing is that every single pick that I've made, it's really good on paper, but sometimes whatever happens on paper doesn't actually result into good points. But the question you have to ask yourself is, are these bad decisions, or are you just getting unlucky? And my heart really just tells me that I've been getting unlucky. Like, I'm trusting my heart, I'm trusting my head. All of these things are aligned and just saying, hey, you're just not too far off. Haaland has just gone out there and destroyed you. Will that form continue? Now, the answer to this question could completely change the direction of my season, where Haaland is coming up against Newcastle without KDB, and I'm not sure if he'll be getting that many good chances, especially at St. James's Park, but Newcastle have been very poor defensively, so you'd probably back Haaland to get a hat-trick, given the form he's in. But I'm wondering if Haaland's upside is going to be capped, given that they are going to be traveling to away matches in the Champions League, and these should be easy wins on the cards for the next 4 or 5 weeks. So I'm not even sure if the upside is really there for Haaland. Now, of course, he's the most explosive player in the game, but my heart tells me that my structure is actually really good, because when I look at it, I really like the team. Like, that's the thing. It's like, yes, I'm ranked at 4.5 million, but I love my squad. I already have double Arsenal defense in my team. I've got Trent. I have Saka, who's going to be my captain most likely this week. Isak as well. I think he will be the highest scoring player in terms of points per start apart from Haaland. Like, I'm 100% confident in that. He is the best striker in the league apart from Haaland. So I'm just going to hold him, especially given that there's no Europe. He's on penalties. He's getting 90s. Like, there's no need for me to sell these assets. They're just underperforming. And I feel like I just need to exhibit patience. But I look at my team overall and I'm pretty content with it, to be honest. Moving into Game Week 6, there are 4 key questions that I really want to be answered, and I'm not exactly sure what the right answer is. The first is going to be, who is the third best Arsenal pick? Because we know that Saka and Gabriel are locks. From game week 1 till game week 38, they should have been in your team, honestly. And it's just about that third pick where it's Raya versus Saliba. Now, with Raya, he's gone out there and picked up 23 saves in 5 matches. And it's interesting because last year he had 46 saves in 32 games. So he has half the amount of saves he had over 32 games last year, which is kind of ridiculous. However, there has been the perfect storm for David Raya where there have been 2 red cards, and that means that Arsenal were conceding possession to the opposition, and the opposition were creating chances and taking lost shots away, maybe from outside the box, because Arsenal are always going to be protecting the 18-yard box, given how strong their defense is. And so it's put Raya in a position where he's had to be called upon to make big saves. He went out there in the Champions League, made a penalty save as well. So Raya is a very interesting goalie. In fact, he's elevating himself into the conversation to being one of the best goalies in the Premier League. Like, genuinely, one of the only goalies I think that's better than him is Alisson, but he's become so brittle where he doesn't even play 38 games anymore. So Raya is nursing an injury. It's come out in the press conference, but I'm sure that Arteta is just making a big deal out of nothing, and I'm sure he's going to be fine, and they just don't want to be playing him in a cup match. So Raya is the one that I do have my eyes on, and I'm wondering if he's the best third Arsenal pick. If he continues against Southampton and Leicester to pick up 2 saves or more, then I would be considering switching my Arsenal pick of William Saliba to a David Raya, and that would probably convince me to pull the trigger on a wild card. The second question to answer is Rico Lewis essential? Now, so far this season, Rico Lewis has 19 touches in the penalty area, the highest of any other defender in FPL. He also has 2 shots with an expected goal involvement of 0.8. And that's just through the couple of matches that he has started this season. Now, we know that he won't start 38 games. I'm not even expecting him to start 30 games, if I'm honest, probably closer to 20 to 25. But there is a path to higher expected minutes given that Rodri has picked up an injury, but that probably also means that City won't keep as many clean sheets, but they don't really keep clean sheets anyway. I mean, they have Ederson in net. So if you're bringing Rico Lewis in, you're not doing it for the cleans, you're doing it for the attacking upside. But there always is a chance for Man City to keep a clean sheet. They'll probably keep at least 10. They should at least match what mid-table teams do defensively. So there is a chance that Rico Lewis will be the highest scoring 4.7 option in FPL from a defensive perspective, and he just provides really good value. So I want to just be monitoring to see if, for example, if I sold the Saliba and I went to Rico Lewis, that could also be in the same conversation of getting to a David Raya. So these 2 questions are sort of intertwined, and I just want to be monitoring what is the right pairing. The third question to answer is, can Liverpool keep clean sheets in the big games? Now, playing against Man United honestly hasn't been a big game for the past 2 or 3 years, and that was the same trend that continued this year. So I'm not really taking anything of value from that match. But when we play against the likes of Chelsea and Arsenal in game week 8 and game week 9, can we trust Trent to pick up a return in those matches? And right now, I don't know the answer because we haven't seen them play in some of the easier matches. So I think I will hold Trent through game week 8 and through game week 9, and then decide if I'll likely hold him through Man City and then Newcastle. I'm seeing a lot more of Trent Alexander-Arnold on the wildcard than I expected. It feels like he has around 70 or 80% ownership in every single wildcard team, which is really surprising because the fixtures coming up are not that great. They play against Arsenal, Chelsea, Brighton, Villa, Man City, Newcastle. Like, it's ridiculous. I don't know why that many people are on Trent. You've already missed a lot of the points that have come, but you know how it is. You know, they'll see Trent pick up an 11-pointer. He got a clean sheet in 4 or 5 matches, and they'll think he's essential. But that's just based on the fixtures. When you look at the fixtures coming up, are you really expecting that many points? I don't know. But then you look at the likes of a Jared Bowen, who's picked up maybe 4 points a match, but he's played through Chelsea and Man City. Like, coming up are the easy fixtures, like, and no one's talking about Bowen. Everybody's talking about Diaz. So it's just one of those things where, like, FPL is just like that. You know, everyone's looking to the hot new toy, but I feel like you have to predict points rather than chasing last week's points. And that's why I'm considering about potentially dropping Trent myself. Now, I'm looking at Eze as my weakest point in my squad. And given that he's not 100% nailed to take penalties, maybe I could sell like a Trent and Eze and get to like a very cheap defender and a Son, because I already have my double Arsenal defense. I already have 2 4.5 options in Davis and Dunk who could rotate for that third defensive spot. So maybe I should just drop Trent as he's a luxury given that the fixtures are so difficult coming up. Moving into game week 6, I have sold the Egyptian King, and selling this to you guys just feels wrong. Like selling Salah, where I know he could probably be the better captain than Saka this week, where he has more explosivity. Salah has the better matchup coming up against Ryan Ait-Nouri, my Algerian bro, but he has no defense. Salah is going to destroy him. So I'm confident for Liverpool to pick up a 3-0 or 3-1 win, even though it's away from home, and I'm sure Salah will get a return. but it's just about the way that my team looks longer term. And yes, I know Semenyo also has a very good fixture at home to Southampton, and I could have put this move off until next week, but I really want to be locking into Bryan Mbeumo for 38 weeks. He is one of the best FPL assets in the game. He's too cheap. He's on pens. Like the way that Brentford set up, they'll always create chances on their counterattack, even in the bigger games. So I'm happy to hold Bryan Mbeumo. I think he will smash Semenyo in terms of points by the time we get to the end of the season. And then we have Salah versus Palmer, where I think the difference between their points is not going to be that high. And because I won't be captaining Salah in the next 6 to 7 weeks, I'm comfortable selling him. And that's the only reason that I'm comfortable doing this, is because I went through the next 20 weeks and I decided to make a captaincy matrix. Now, it's not easy and I'm not happy to be selling Salah, but I think if I rely on the likes of Saka, Palmer, Son, and Bruno, I know a lot of you guys will chuckle at Bruno, but realistically, I'm going to be relying on Saka and Palmer for a majority of my captains, and I do feel like there are trustable 90-minute men on the penalties for their clubs where we can trust them for captaincy. I like the way that my team is structured when I don't have a 12.5 million asset in Salah or a 15.0 million asset in Haaland eating up a lot of the budget. Now, I do feel like I can spread the money very well across my entire squad to get a very balanced team. Where if I can just mash what Haaland does in captaincy, I will definitely outscore the Haaland teams, but I will likely lose points from captaincy over the course of the season. And I'm just hoping that the differential picks that I go for as my captains, as well as the differential picks that I own, the likes of Alexander Isak and Bruno Fernandes as example, will deliver the points over 38 weeks. Now, over the next 20 weeks, I've gone with Saka and Palmer. Whenever they're playing against newly promoted squads, I've put them in green as they are non-negotiable captains. I should probably put the one that for Son as well in green, because those should all just be non-negotiables. But when I'm looking at the other weeks, I'm very open for captaincy, but the idea is that I can build a very strong captaincy path without owning the likes of Salah and Haaland, and I'm very comfortable with it. I'd even include the likes of Mbeumo or a Isak or a Bruno in this path because they are 90 minutes on the penalties for their clubs, and I expect them to return in the easier matches. And we saw what Mbeumo just did against Southampton, 2 goals against them. I expect the same thing at home to Ipswich and the same thing at home to Leicester. And I know that sounds a little bit scary, especially given that in Game Week 9, Haaland is coming up against Southampton. I don't expect to get more captaincy points. I will probably get a red arrow in that week, but as long as I can trust Mbeumo to get me 1 goal, I'll be happy. Like I can sleep happy because I know how good my squad will be relative to the teams that have Semenyo plus Haaland in their team. So I'm just looking at the structure. I've gone out into the next 20 weeks. I've looked at captaincy. I'm happy with it. And because of that, that's the main reason that I sold Salah, because I really want 2 premium mids of the Saka Palmer Son price point and use one of them as my captain every week. So far this season, it has been the perfect storm for the Haaland teams to thrive. We've looked at the likes of Isak and Bruno, who have delivered basically no points, like 15 points, for example, for Bruno. And then we compared that to the budget options, the combinations that people would have gone with if they went for Haaland. They would have gone for an Emil Smith-Rowe, who got 30 points relative to Bruno's 15. So it feels like an absolute no-brainer to be on Emil Smith-Rowe plus Haaland or Antoine Semenyo plus Haaland. But I'm not sure that trend will continue over 38 weeks, and I have enough faith in Bruno and the likes of Isak as well to match what Haaland can do, and I just have to stay patient and trust my instincts. And as long as Bruno and Isak continue to get the minutes, there's no reason for me to sell them. Points will come. I just have to stay patient, and it feels weird to be going without Haaland. It feels even weirder to be going without Salah, because now it's like I feel completely naked in terms of captaincy, but I do have my 2 premium options in Saka and Palmer, and I can always trust them. Whenever I have a doubt, I would just put the captaincy armband on Saka because the man just delivers 6 points every single week. It gets a little bit boring, I think. You're never going to be as explosive as a Haaland or a Salah in terms of captaincy, but 6 to 7 points every single week, I would take that, honestly. So anyway, that's just the way that I'm thinking about my team. Hopefully I provided some value to you over the course of this video. Wishing you guys lots of green arrows going into Game Week 6, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. Peace.